another episode of Manju Ramanan Talks. And today I'm going to present to you my recently launched book, I Did It My Way, on Dubai based businessman Rajan Lal. And we are in his house and we are going to meet him soon. It took me 4 years to write this book, and it has his journey of love, loss, betrayal, and wisdom. And it's been a journey. It's been a lot of interviews, a lot of time spent, pictures from 1924 to 2024, 100-year-old pictures that are part of this book. And it'll be available soon on Amazon. And go grab a copy and tell me how you feel. So let's go meet Mr. Rajan Lal. This is an interview I wanted to do for the last 4 years, but I have done numerous interviews for print. This is the first interview I'm doing of Mr. Rajan Lal, who's the subject of the interview and the subject of the book, I Did It My Way. And he's next to me. We are in his beautiful, beautiful mansion at the Palm Jumeirah. And sir, tell me about the book now. It's a very
Oh my God, this interview has long been coming, and finally, I think this is the last one today.
yeah.
We finally got a chance to sit down and be together and talk freely about our experiences and how it all happened. Uh, I think more than me, you know about the book because she is been the driving force and the persistence and the passion with which she did this book is absolutely commendable. I must give her a salute for that because if it was not for her, her persistence and her pushiness, I would say, to some extent even annoying, that to get together and finish this book. Because it took us 4 years to write this book. It took me 4 years and 4 years for her to write it and write this book. But because lack of time, space, she was working, I was busy with my work, travel. So we never really got together. This could have been done earlier, but it takes its time and it finished when it had to finish. But we completed the book in 4 years and we had a lot of challenges in between. We have over, I think, 350 pages
Yes.
of this book, which is of photographs,
Yes.
which is from, I think, 100 years old.
Yes.
And they were all left by my mother from 1924 to 2025. And she had documented this in albums and kept it and left that to me as a legacy. And we had to digitize those black and white photographs, which we did. And it was done beautifully by Mr. Kamal, a photographer, and I must thank him for that. Then the challenge after that was compiling it. We had a layout designer, Mr. Mohammad Danish, who was very good, and I must thank him for his hard work and doing that. We also did a video LCD screen, 25-minute journey of my life, which was made by Mr. Gagan Mudgal and Huzaifa. And I must thank them for it, for their participation. And you will see that in the audio-visual file which is attached with the book. And all these people, and then we printed it in Al Masar printing press, and Madhavan came into our lives. And he, again being a Sai Baba Bhakt, was so impressed. And everything just fell into place and everything happened at the right time. And I think it's all by the divine blessings of my Sai Baba and my mother that this whole thing has now come to fruition. And tomorrow we finally release this book and let it out into the world. And that, in short, is the story of this whole book and how. And if Manju wants to ask me any questions, I'm open to it to answer you freely.
Oh, it has been an amazing journey with you, sir, to learn so much about life lessons more than anything else. Also, the fact that one of the most brutally honest person I have met in my career, in my life. And I feel that it takes a lot of guts to be honest. Does it come naturally to you to be honest, or you?
I have been brutally honest, in fact, brutal to a point of anger and rebellion. But I have kept my the way I am. That's my nature. I speak what I feel, and I feel what I speak. But I have always been brutally honest with anybody I meet, and tell them the truth on their face. If they like it, good. If they don't like it, it's their loss. That's been my principle right throughout my career, and I have never changed myself, and that's how I've been, and that's how I've been now, of admitting all my mistakes that I've made, which affected the lives of so many people. and that's what I've been. And I think that's the way I want to live. I want to live freely. I don't want to have secrets. I don't want to be two-tongued and be diplomatic and to please people and all. I don't do all that. I tell people the way they are, and I want to hear from people the way I am for me, so I can change. If there's any mistakes in me, I tell them their mistakes. And if I have any faults, which I do, they must tell me so I can rectify myself. And that's how life is. It's that simple. But people make it complicated by saying diplomatic and being, very professional, and it not need to be said at this time. I don't do that. I just say the way things are.
That's an amazing quality. I think I take one quality out of his life from my life to this into this extent. One important thing I always feel is, apart from the fact that there's so much of honesty and clarity of thought. It's also clarity of thought,
Yes.
that you're very clear about the way you think, because you can eliminate what you don't want and keep only to the point. Everything is to the point. In
Yes.
fact, sir is responsible for one of my major career decisions. Of quitting a job and moving on as an independent journalist. It's his guidance which helped me take that decision.
Yes.
And more than that, apart from that, I also know that when we write a book like of this magnitude, you go back to your past, and there are some uncomfortable spaces that you also go back to. And I've seen his eyes well up with tears sometimes when he talks about his close friends, especially Vinod Mehra. And so, for you as a journey, was it churning to also, I know it was annoying at times, but was it also painful to go back to painful memories and recreate it again?
Well, it was painful memories of my days with my father, not getting along with him. Those are painful memories. Painful memories of losing a friend, Vinod Mehra, very early in life. Painful memories of my losing Mr. Sunil Dutt, my mentor. And I think in my podcast, which you've seen about him, I got very emotional and I had tears in my eyes when I was speaking, because I loved him so much and I learned so much from him, because you get to meet these great people, I think, once in a lifetime. And I've been very blessed and lucky to have met some great, really nice, great people whom you have learned from. And one thing is there which I want to pass on to you all is that instead of looking at the bad points in a person and judging them, every person has good points and bad points. But what makes them different? What makes them stand out? And what makes them a great man? There's got to be something in them, and that is the point, that quality which you must look for and try to imbibe. You see, we have this natural instinct because of the social circle of gossiping, because you need something to talk to in a party. So you try to bring out the bad points and talk about it just to gain attention. And you're putting down a person just because you want to get attention. For me, I'm at a party, I stay quiet, but I always observe and look for the good points in the person. Like Datsab, I found so many good points in him, and it's not that he was teaching me, but I was sitting down and listening to me like I talk to you, and I picked up the good points. And I saw this is what he does. This is how he handles situations. This is how he handles his political career, his film career, his personal career. And his film career, political career, business career are full of ups and downs in his life. He's had his share of heartbreaks, disappointments, and his happiness days. And he has had, and I've seen him through that. I've learned from all these things. So I always look upon the good points of it. For example, I'll give you my friend Shatrughan Sinha's case. Everybody knows him as a late Latif. Everybody calls him and the whole industry knows him as a person who comes always late on the sets. And that is his claim to fame, so to speak, and that is his signature point of Khamosh or whatever he does. But nobody knows the good points in him. His good points are that today he's such a good human being. He stands up for you and he's beside you. And he has the memory of an elephant. And this is something which nobody knows. And I have seen that. How I've seen that, there was my film called Ramayan, The Legend of Ram, in animation, which I dubbed in 5 languages. I was sitting with him one evening at my house and I told him, I said, Sonu, I've got this film and I need a sutradhar to narrate this whole film. हाँ हम कर लेंगे. So I fixed up. I said कभी रखें, तो जब भी रखो. So I kept it at the T Series studio. And that time Sonakshi was very small, so he brought Sonakshi along. He said, "Chalo." So we went in the morning, and he said, "Start the film." We started the film. He read the pages, there were 4-5 pages of it. He read the 4-5 pages, put it down, and said, "Start."
Wow.
He finished the whole film in 1.5 hours without looking at that paper again, and completed everything. And he says, "Come on, let's go." I said, "Don't you want to see me?" "No, no, nothing, I'm done." And I was amazed at the man and this thing. And this is the same thing about his coming late on sets. If it was a 7 o'clock shift, he would land up at 1 o'clock. And the whole cast and crew and everybody is waiting with makeup, sitting. He would walk in at 12:31. But good point is, he would do his makeup, everything ready for the shot. He would read the lines in one take. He would finish the shot, and by 3 o'clock he would be out. Now that is the good point in the man. He completes his work and goes, and he has an elephant's memory. He completes the shot and goes. He will not let that shift go waste. That is a good point about it. Bad point of it, everybody knows he comes late. But that is a good point. So that is what I'm saying, that we must look for the positive and the good points in every person that makes him great. That's why Dutt Saab is great. That's why Shatrughan Sinha is great. That's why people like Jitinder, like we met Rakesh Roy, something that makes them great. So these are the qualities we must all look for in them by observing rather than talking. And when people talk more, I switch off naturally. In a party, you meet people who are talking more about themselves. I know this, I did this, I also knew this, I also did this. And you switch off. You say, yeah, this is an empty vessel making the most sound. People who talk more always are empty vessels, trying to show people that I am this, I know this friend, I know this, I did this, I did that. They're all shallow people. You switch off with them. But the people who are quiet and listening are the people whom you observe, and that these are solid people. You don't need to boast about your status or your reputation or whatever you have. Have you heard Mr. Mukesh Ambani talk? I own this, I own that. I don't know. He'll sit down quietly and listen. Any great person you meet, a successful person, will always listen to you quietly. So I always advise people, talk less, listen more. People will listen to you when you talk. When you talk, you will get attention to talk because you talk less. And the people who are talking constantly, you will say, let's get the hell out of here, because it gives you a lot of negative energy. So you must, that's how I have evolved and imbibed myself, that I sit down and talk when people ask me to talk or what my opinion is. I don't give my opinions or judgments or anything, and I just sit down and listen. I think this is a quality which has paid me off in the long run, because then people start looking at you differently and start listening to you and what you say and take it seriously. When you're yapping away all the time, people don't listen to you. So that is my advice which I give to everybody, is talk less and listen more. This is one of the things which I would like to pass
It's
on.
an amazing thing, and I will take this also home. There's one more important quality in Sir, which I always felt, is that he has also looked at the positive qualities on the people who have betrayed him. Now, that is a little difficult to forgive, and these are people who have taken money from him, or probably not returned his money, or probably backstabbed him. He still wishes them on their birthdays. He's making sure that they are part of his guest list. How do you do that? How is that? That's not easy to
First
do.
of all, you said the first thing, that people whom I have given money to and not got it back, I have made it a principle of my life from very, very young age, is not to loan money to
To
anybody.
anybody.
I have made it a principle, whether it's a relative, whether it's a
Friends.
son or a friend or anybody. And this I would advise and give advice to all my friends, is that make it a principle in life not to ever loan money to however needy that person may be, and you will lose your money and your friend. So I decided this long back in principle, and everybody in my circle and my family knows that Rajan Lal has money or not, he will not loan you a penny. And that is something that I make. So when people come to me and say, "Yeah, bhaiya, I will give you my car or in mortgage, or I'll give you a check," I said, "I'm sorry, I don't believe in loaning money. Whether it's 100 dirhams or whether it's 100,000 dirhams, I will not loan you money. And I don't want to know your problem. If there's anything else you want, I'm there for you. But don't talk about loaning money." Because A, that's my principle. Second is, I might lose my money and my friend, and I don't want to take that chance. So this is something. As far as your other question
Forgiving.
of betrayals and backstabbing and cheating is concerned, yes, I've had a lot of my share of that, whether it's in business, whether it's in friendship, whether it's in my own business. There have been people who have tried to cheat me and backstab me and cheat me of everything which I've had. I've had those people in my life, and I've been betrayed not once but many times, and this is financially and also emotionally. When I talk emotionally betrayed, I'm talking of my own family. I have been betrayed by my own family, who are my close to me. People even like my father, for example, or my wife, for example. I have been betrayed with them. I don't want to get into details of that because they're too hurtful to see that even people from your own family can bring such betrayals to you, which can cause you to change your life. As far as cheating is concerned, I've had friends who cheated me of a lot of things. But you know what? I meet them, I have not spoiled relations with them. I meet them even today and meet them, greet them, call them, mix with them, party with them, and hug them. But they can never look me in the eye. They can never look me in the eye and talk to me eye to eye because they know they've cheated me. But I think I become a better or a bigger person by saying that I've forgiven you for what you've done because I believe in natural justice. All the people in my life that I've seen right from the beginning who have betrayed me or cheated me have their lives have gone to shit. They're absolutely gone to shit because something or the other happens in their life, whether it's their wealth, their business, their family, the sickness, or anything else that they have done with me gets paid back. It's karma, what we call. This is in this life that they're all paid back for whatever you do to, to, to anybody. I think they are all being paid back, and I watch it happen to them. And I've seen all of them suffer in their own way. And I have a very black tongue, which I must tell you. If I curse somebody, that person is finished for life. I have such a black tongue, so I control myself, right? And I don't curse anybody because I have a curse somebody, that guy is finished for life. And it's not happened to me once; it's happened to me every time. So if they draw my wrath or my anger and I curse them, that person is finished. So for me, that's natural justice. I leave it to God because I have been honest with them and they have cheated me. That's their karma. And my karma is that I've been cheated. There's nothing I can do. I leave it to the divine upstairs to teach them a lesson. And that's what I have followed and I will continue to follow. And that's what I advise all my viewers to think about this when I say this. You may think I'm a fool, but I am not. I still meet those guys who have, and they've all taught me a lesson. They have been my mentors in a different way. Not in the good way, but in the bad way. Because they cheated me, you've learned a lesson. So you learn from that lesson of what they betrayed or cheated you, that whom to trust and whom not to trust. Right? So this is what I'm saying. And one thing which I've noticed, Manju, is something very interesting which I want to talk to you about, is the people who are very sweet in life, they're the most dangerous people. People who meet you, आइए जी, नमस्ते जी, बैठिए जी, and आप क्या खाएंगे, आप क्या पिएंगे, you're too sweet, you're too nice. I get very scared of those people because those people are the biggest bloody frauds going around town. So I would prefer a person talking to me and giving me galis and cursing me and I giving them galis and cursing them. Those are the people with a clean heart. And me, I'm a habit, I'm saying it openly, I can't talk without giving galis. I am the most galied person in the town because I speak 22 a language, bad language, and I speak that out. And everybody loves me for it because यार इसका दिल साफ है. ये जो फील करता है बोल देता है, मुंह पे बोल देता है, पीछे नहीं बोलता. So that is what I feel. And people who are open-hearted, if they speak openly, they have nothing malice in your heart. You are speaking it out. But the people who are very nice, आइए बैठिए, please be careful of them. I'm telling you, they are to be watched. That's I want to.
Okay. Tell me about your connection with Shirdi Sai Baba. When did it start?
My Shirdi Sai Baba connection started when my first. I got out of my first job. I was thrown out of my first job.
Oh, that was the first time.
That was the first time
that
I was.
we have not
That yeah, I was thrown out of my first job of SIBA.
Okay.
When I was with SIBA handling Binaka green top fluoride and doing the Binaka Geet Mala,
Mala
Vitamin
Geet Mala.
Sayani and all that.
Mm.
I thought it was my Bapka Raj, and I was going on whenever I want, having fun with the agencies and the models and going out and having parties. When Mr. Gautam Sehgal, who was the president of the company, and Mr. Gautam Sehgal was a big shot, he was Nain Tara Sehgal's husband, Nehru's sister.
Mm.
And I had got that job with influence from my uncle, who was the governor of Goa, Mr. Nakul Sen, who is Ambika Soni's father, and he was distantly related to us. So he had got me that job. I'm a third class BSc student, copied and passed, and that also got 39%. And I got that job. So I took it for granted. But after that job, I got thrown out of that job, and I was joined Bayer. In between that, my brother Vinay was a Sai Baba Bhakt.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to do in life and how to do it. And he told me, Rajan, why don't you go to Shirdi?
Oh, this
So I
was at
said,
the age of
this must be the
20,
age of
early 20s?
no, 19, 18, 19, 20.
Okay.
Before I got married at 21. He told me, take a trip to Shirdi and go and see, because I'm a believer of Sai Baba. So I said, chalo. You know, when एक आदमी खोया हुआ होता है तो उसको कोई भी तिनका मिल जाए वो उस तरफ चल पड़ता है. So I said okay. So I took a bus. वो बस जाती थी शिरडी, 8 घंटे का ट्रिप था. तो मैं अकेले बैठ के बस में गया, शिरडी गया. तो शिरडी में जाके बैठा वहाँ पे. उस वक्त इतना रश नहीं था, बड़ा नहीं था. So I sat down there and I looked at Sai Baba and I just sat down on the floor and prayed. I said, show me the way, what I have to do and what I have to become, or whatever happened. And I'm looking for guidance from you and whatever. And I came back from there. I spent a few hours, came back, and after that my life changed. And the moment I got back, it was like Baba was calling me to come. And Vinay, my brother, was a medium to it. And I went there, and after that, things started happening on their own. It was like Baba was behind me. And after that, I got into Bayer. My life changed. Then it happened for the better when Mr. Sabharwal came into my life and he said, I want this son of yours to start a business with him. I said, I'm going to be a businessman, not a service employee.
In all these times, you used to go to Shirdi?
I used to go to Shirdi. So when I started going there, and I started saying, I used to think, I said, this is because of Sai Baba. So I started keeping a small murti in the house and started praying. And then this Mr. Sabharwal happened, and then Mr. Sabharwal betrayed me for whatever had happened. I don't blame him for it because I was at fault also to that extent, the same Siva kind of behavior. But he taught me a lesson. He threw me out on the street one fine day. I didn't know what to do. Again, I went back to Baba and said, I've been thrown out. So what do I do? Again, I got the impression that a friend, Mr. Kiku Samdani, came into my life. He said, you know a business, start it. I said, I don't have the money. You don't have the money, here's 10,000 rupees. He took it out on his table. Start your company, ITL. He named the company Intertrim Linings. And that's how I bought the 10,000 rupees, and I went and bought the fabric. Now, how do I make it? Om Prakash comes into my life, who's an actor, who was my uncle. He's married, his daughter was married to my uncle, dad's brother. So I went to him, I said, Uncle, aisa. He said, what do you want? I said, this friend of yours, Mr. Verma Mukherjee is there. He's got a dyeing house. I want to process my fabric there. We called him up with bad words. He was worse than me in bad words. And he said, come here just now. He came running. He said, क्या है sir? He says, ये मेरा बेटा है. He wants to do some कपड़े का washing. मेरे को कुछ समझ नहीं क्या है. वो कांजी का होता है ना बकरम. कहते हैं उसको कोई बकरम बनाना जो भी करना है उसको करके दे दे. कहते सर मेरा मिल है प्रिंटिंग का, वो मेकिंग नहीं. मेरे को कुछ पता नहीं. तुम गालियाँ दे के उसको बोला तुम इसको करो इसको. He said, okay sir. So my journey started. I went to New Bombay. I had a Ricky Tiol ambassador which I had bought thanks to Mr. Vinod Mehra being a star those days. तो उसने मेरे को पैसे दिए थे.
But did you also take stars to Shirdi like Vinod Mehra?
No. I took nobody to Shirdi. Whoever wanted to go came with me, but I never forced anybody.
Okay.
But life started. I did my first consignment, bought it, paid him back, started, and then my journey started. And suddenly, I built up in the next 10 years or 8 years an empire with 5 offices, and had cars, had houses everywhere, and things were going great. But when I moved to my first office, which was a small 300 square feet office from my house, I started my business from the house, where my wife Aruna used to make the bills and help me with it, and the back office side, and I used to go out and sell. I used to sit in the tempo, deliver the goods, come back. All that was there. And she has been a very major help to me during my startup days also. I miss praise her for that. And I had made a small office when my problems, family problems started. I said, it's time for me to move out. So I bought a small office in Kalyan Das Udyog Bhavan near Century Bazaar at Worli. And I went there and I had one person working for me. And I had gone to Chennai, and my friend Mr. Rang Nagpal said, let's go to Tirupati, Balaji. So I said, chalo. So I went with him to Tirupati and came back from Tirupati with the dhaga and the murti and the prasad, and I kept it in my drawer. The next day, I had an income tax raid in my office, out of the blue. And I said, what? My whole life turned upside down. And I was wondering, I said, what has happened suddenly? Everything was going well. And that income tax raid, if I tell you today, was instigated by my father and my wife. It was instigated, and the income tax commissioner called me and said, do you have enemies? I said, no, sir, your enemies are in your own home. And he showed me the signature of my father and my wife who had instigated that raid. My whole world fell apart and shook me up completely. And I said, how can these people do this to me? I had walked out of the house because I had had a relationship going with another woman. And my father and my wife wanted to teach me a lesson by bringing me down on the road back again so I would go back. That was their way of threatening me, right? I don't blame them for the anger, whatever has happened. But what I thought was that then I said, I opened the drawer to pick up something and I saw the murti and the thread there of Balaji. And suddenly it hit me that I am a follower of Sai Baba and he's got angry with me. Why did you go to Balaji? When I am there for you, I've given you everything. Why did you? Ek veham ho jata hai. So I took up that thread and the murti and all, and I went to the sea and I immersed that. And after that, everything became normal. And I said sorry to him. I'm sorry I went to Balaji. And wo din hai aur aaj ka din hai. I will never go to any other temple of worship other than Sai Baba. And today I have my own temple at home. And how this murti came is another long story. It will take a whole day to tell you. But those stories are all in the book. But it's very interesting.
And you wear
I wear my Sai Baba ring.
Can you show it to the camera?
And this is the ring which I wear of Sai Baba. And I firmly believe with him. I talk to him. I tell him, when I pray in the mornings, I go and talk to him and tell him whatever is happening, if happens well, it happens. It's like he's there for me. Even when I had my 4 heart attacks and my aortic valve replacement and my knee surgery and COVID and a bout with cancer or whatever I had only his small statue of Sai Baba, which my son gave me when I went for surgery, which I carry with me. And I take it and I said, Jo hoega, hoega. And I am sitting here talking to you today, absolutely hale and hearty and feeling good and energetic about what has been going through the last few days, I know, and what is going to happen tomorrow, I know. But he has given me the strength to face all this at my age of 78, which I completed yesterday. And I'm here sitting. We slept at 3:30 in the morning, and we are up at morning at 11. We are up all day doing interviews, and evening we are having dinner because my friends are here. And then tomorrow morning from 11 o'clock we are back again. And we have a long day ahead for 400-500 people coming. So this is the energy that he has given me, which is driving me through, and that is what is happening. And I'm blessed to have that. But I'm more blessed to have Manju in my life because she has been my driving force. And once again, let me tell you that she is a woman of substance. And very few people I tell this to because she is a woman of substance. And she just needed a little push. She just needed a little edging to push her towards the right side, which she has taken. And she's now on the right path and finally found her niche in what she's meant to do, not meant to follow or work for anybody, but do her own thing. And she's been successful. And I wish her all the success in her life. And I am always with her, behind her, like a shield and like a pillar standing behind her, always that. And that's a great feeling to have in a person, because I have a person like that in Dubai His name is Mr. Vasu Shroff. Everybody knows him. For me, he's like a pillar. He's my godfather. As long as I know Vasu Shroff है ना, मेरे को दुबई में कोई फिक्र नहीं है. And I have to just call him up and he'll be there for me. So in life we need somebody. I had Datsa with me in Bombay. When he was there, he was like a pillar to me. So we all need pillars in our life to stand by. क्योंकि आप फिक्र नहीं होता ना कि आपको लीन करने को पीछे वो है, मेरे को संभाल लेगा. That is needed for everybody, and everybody should have a pillar in their life. And for her, I'm her pillar in her life, and that's what is important.
I am emotional when I say this. I lost my father when I was 26, and I got a father figure.
Thank you. I'm always there for you. I'm always there for you. Good people like you need to be recognized. Very few good people in this world. She's got such a good heart, a golden heart, a big heart. She's a giver. She's not a taker. She's a giver. Like me, I'm a giver. मैंने ज़िंदगी में बस ऐसे ही किया है. ये मैंने फोटो डाली थी, वो मंत्रा इट्स कॉल्ड. ये वो हाथ ऐसे देते हैं. It's a giving hand. It's called the mantra. This is all your life you have only given. You have never taken. So all my life, whether it's my friends, my family, my children, my relationships, my business, मैंने हमेशा दिया ही है सबको. मैंने किसी से कुछ नहीं लिया. यहाँ तक कि मैं अपने बर्थडे पे अपने आप को गिफ्ट करता हूँ. अभी कल जो गाड़ी ली है मैंने, दैट्स अ गिफ्ट टू माई सेल्फ. मैंने जब 60 साल की उम्र में फैंटम खरीदी थी, दैट वाज अ गिफ्ट टू माई सेल्फ. माई यॉट व्हिच आई बॉट वाज अ गिफ्ट टू माई सेल्फ.
और also ये चीज सीखी है कि सेल्फ लव कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है.
You have to first help yourself. First feed yourself, then serve others. You have to take care of yourself because nobody is going to take care of you in life. You understand one thing in life is that in this life, when you are by yourself and in trouble and in any good times or bad times, you are there only for yourself. Your family, your children, your friends, your well-wishers, your all party friends all disappear. You are there alone. And I learned that when I was in ICU in hospital for 15 days with tubes in me. And I was sitting there and I said, what is this all about? I mean, what is all this? ये घर मेरा है, ये गाड़ी मेरी है, ये प्रॉपर्टी मेरी है, ये बिजनेस मेरा है, मेरे पास इतना पैसा है. What is all about? Nothing. You are lying there because you have a health issue and you have nothing left. It's all gone. And from that day, I realized that money, fame, everything you have has no meaning. It has no meaning for me. I just want to give love, get love, and the love which I've seen, which you saw yesterday with the friends who came, and what I've done through my book, through my podcast, is just given them advice and love. Selflessly, I don't want nothing in return. This book sells or doesn't sell, I don't give a damn. If nobody buys even a single copy, I don't care. I will give it away to friends. It's not the money. I've done it because I wanted to do it. I've got an offer to do a documentary tomorrow. I said, why would anybody want a documentary when the documentary maker told me, sir, you don't know what you have. You've got so much of stuff inside you which you can bring out in a documentary. After I saw the Roshans, I said, yeah, why not? You know, if they can do this and like bring out stuff which nobody in the world knew about the Roshan family, this is something which is there to tell. I'm not a celebrity where Netflix will buy this film for a huge amount, but at least I can prepare it and send it. If somebody likes it, maybe they'll take it or make a film out of it, or something will happen, but I'll let it out. I don't care. नहीं बिकी डॉक्यूमेंट मैं घर पे बच्चों को दिखाऊंगा कि भाई ये तुम्हारे लिए बनाई है, छोड़ दिया. So that is what my whole attitude is. So this is how I take life. अगर चल गई तो ठीक है, नहीं चली तो खुश रहो.
And I think that's a playful attitude is also which has helped you sail through so many things.
Yes,
and taking it like
I don't take stress in my life at all. आजकल दुनिया में जो कुछ हो रहा है आसपास, there's so much of stress. Everybody is stressed out. Either they're stressed out about work, about their relationships, about their family, about their children, about their friends, about the gossip that's going around. And Dubai is the world's biggest gossip area that I have seen in my life. The maximum gossips that I've seen when you go to parties are by the ladies and more by the men. So this has become a gossip town. What everybody else is doing, they want to know. And here everybody wants to be better than the Joneses. You know, if you have something up, they want to be one up because the lady wants it one up. They want a better house, a better jewel, better car, better whatever, better dress. ये सब चलता रहता है, वन अपमैनशिप दुबई में बहुत होता है। एंड दिस इज वेयर द स्ट्रेस कम्स इन ऑन द हस्बैंड ऑन द वाइफ टू आइदर लुक बेटर और टू स्पेंड मोर मनी। तो ये स्ट्रेस जो है ये सबको है, एंड स्ट्रेस टुडे इज द बिगेस्ट किलर। 90% of the people who die don't die of heart attacks or cancer or anything else. It's the stress that kills them, because you don't, it's not something which is diagnosed. It's not something which you treat with medication. It's something that you have, and that kills you inside, because inside when you're kudoing or you're troubling, something is happening to you. It affects your brain, your heart, and your whole body. And you, when it continuously happens, you die of it. And you call it a heart attack, they call it a stroke, they call it whatever else. But it's the stress that is the initial builder of that final fatal thing that happens to you. So this is something that people don't realize. And this is what I want to convey to everybody, that when somebody comes, I'm very stressed out here. I said, you're stressed out about what? Oh, my girlfriend, she very left me. और मैं बिजनेस में मेरा नुकसान हो गया, बड़ा पैसा लॉस हो गया, बहुत स्ट्रेस हो गया। अच्छा, मैंने बताओ एक काम बताओ कि ये स्ट्रेस में आपका कोई सोल्यूशन मिल गया इसका? डिड यू फाइंड अ सोल्यूशन इन दिस स्ट्रेस? कहते नहीं। तो मैंने कहा तुम स्ट्रेस क्यों ले रहे हो फिर? व्हाई आर यू टेकिंग स्ट्रेस? इफ इट्स सॉल्विंग अ प्रॉब्लम, यू टेक द स्ट्रेस। बट मैंने कहा मैं तो स्ट्रेस लेता नहीं। कहते आप क्या करते हो? मैंने कहा मैं स्ट्रेस लेता ही नहीं। जब कोई पहाड़ गिर पड़े या कोई टूट पड़े या कल बिजनेस आपका डाउन हो जाए, आपका लॉस हो जाए, या आपकी बीवी आपको छोड़ दे, या बच्चे ने आपको गरम बड़ा बोला है, आप स्ट्रेस आउट रहते क्यों? इज इट सॉल्विंग अ प्रॉब्लम? नहीं। सो आई सेड आप एक स्ट्रेस जब लेते हो ना, उसको आप, इट इज समथिंग विच यू हैव टू बिल्ड इन विद इन योर सेल्फ। कि जैसे स्ट्रेस आया ना, उसको बोला नहीं स्ट्रेस कुछ नहीं है, इसका सोल्यूशन ढूंढ दो। इसका सोल्यूशन क्या है? अब स्ट्रेस है, जैसे मेरा बिजनेस में मेरा लॉस हो गया, अब बिजनेस में लॉस हो गया तो स्ट्रेस करने से बिजनेस प्रॉफिट में तो आने वाला नहीं। तो उस बिजनेस का लॉस की वजह तक जाओ, तय तक जाओ, रूट तक जाओ, कि भाई स्टडी करो कि ये बिजनेस लॉस में कैसे गया, ये जो बिका है माल, ये किस प्राइस पे बिका है, उसमें कॉस्टिंग में गलती थी, उसको ठीक, ब्रेक इट इनटू स्मॉलर प्रॉब्लम। आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल। break it into smaller problems, then solve those smaller problems, and you'll finally come to the root of the problem and find the solution। कि भाई ये इसमें ये कॉस्टिंग में मेरी गलती हो गई, तो जब माल बिका, पैसा आया, पता चले लॉस है। तो दिस इज समथिंग दैट यू कैन रेक्टिफाई। आई सेड फाइंड सॉल्यूशंस टू द प्रॉब्लम। पर्सनल लाइफ में प्रॉब्लम है, आपकी बीवी के साथ नहीं बनती, आप छोड़ रहे हो, या बच्चे क्या है, आप उसको ढूंढो, क्यों बीवी के साथ क्यों झगड़ा हुआ है। आपने गाली गलौज कर लिया, आपने झगड़ा कर लिया, उसने कर लिया, आप लोग अलग हो गए, खत्म हो गई बात, पता करो क्यों हुआ। उसका कोई वजह होगी, कोई बात होगी, उस वजह को डिस्कस करो कि ये इस बात पे गुस्सा हुए थे, इस बात को सोल्यूशन के क्यों गुस्से हुए थे। उस गुस्से का अगर सोल्यूशन ढूंढो, इसलिए गुस्से हुए थे, उसका आपको आंसर मिलेगा। उस गुस्से को आप प्रॉब्लम को ठीक करो और बैठ के बात करो। व्हेन यू नो पीपल टुडे डोंट कम्युनिकेट, दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम। Husband, wife, father, son, friends, relatives, they don't communicate. They just take it for granted कि भाई ये समझ में आ गया। When you sit down and say, listen, you have a fight with your wife or your companion, you say, what is the problem? I don't like this. Okay, you don't like this, I don't like this. Let's sit down and solve a problem. If you don't like it, can we find a solution for it? Yes. He said, if you do this and I do this,
We meet midway.
if midway we meet, is it okay? Yes, it's okay. I don't like this about you. I said, okay, I will not do this, but I'll do this. Up to here, it's okay, fine. You're fine. And I'm talking out of experience, because now my present relationship is such that my present companion and friend, whom I've been with for 5-6 years, we have nothing in common. We have nothing, absolutely nothing in common. It's chalk and cheese. Not even the food, not even the sense of dressing, not even the social life, nothing in common, right? So, but we sat down and we've broken up many times, but we sat down and talked about it and solved the problem. I'll give you an example. If I can't sleep without watching TV. And if this TV is on, she can't sleep. So when I'm watching TV for 1.5 2 hours, whatever time I come back, she's sitting in the toilet, meditating or exercising. And she said, when you close your TV, call me, I'll come. I said, this is not going to work. I told her, I said, listen, can I buy headphones like you're wearing? Can I put the headphones on? You don't have the problem with the TV screen color. So I'll put I'll put a
So
sleeping mask.
sweet that is.
So she puts her sleeping mask, I put my headphone, I watch TV. We're very happy. Same way, I like watching Hindi movies, I like go to watch. She doesn't understand the language. I said, she said, I will not come for movies with you, and I love movies. I said, how do we solve this problem? I said, you mind that after office I'll go and sit for a movie? You go for your walk and exercise. She said, fine, we solve the problem. Food, nothing in common. I said, you make your food, I'll make my food. So she gets her food, I get my food, we solve. Holidays, I hate cruising and I love cruising. I said, I can't live without cruising. She said, I hate being in cruises. I said, can we go for a 15-day cruise? She said, no, 7 days. I said, no, 7, no, 15. She said, okay, 15, but not more than 15. We solved the problem. Today, we're going on an 18-day cruise and she's happily coming. So, you know, this is how slowly people convert and change. But we have found a solution because we talk to each other. And that is the reason why I say people don't communicate anymore. Because, you know, you are married for 20 years, 30 years, you stop communicating with each other. And the communication, if it stops, that means that relationship is finished. And 99% of relationships who are married today are just a front. There's no relationship. There's no love affection. It's just a front to keep the social circle together, to say that husband and wife are together, but there's nothing between them. And that's a very sad part of it. But if people understand that even after 30 years of marriage, if they still understand each other and talk to each other, that spark, that love will still remain, and you'll be very happy with it. And that's something that is very necessary to know.
Wonderful. There's so much to learn. We can keep talking, as you know. The rest you can read in the book, which is available on Amazon now. You can buy it and do leave comments and send us an email saying that how did you like it. Positive comments, please.
No, you can write negative. I'll learn from it. Write negative comments. I don't care. Curse me. Tell me why you did this. Tell me that I'm ready to.
That's what I
used to
wanted.
it all my life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
sir.
you so
Thank
much.
You very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.